Good morning. Welcome to the October 2nd, 2024 Board of Sanitary Commissioners meeting for the Muncie Sanitary District. Today we're having a public hearing. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ask if you'll rise and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. We don't have any absent today. We have all 5 commissioners present, so we will proceed with the public hearing as published. The public hearing topic today is Resolution 2024-14, a schedule of sewage rates. We introduced this 2 weeks ago at a regular board meeting. Anyone wishing to, well, actually, we have a presentation. So anybody wishing to make public comment can approach the podium. Please state your name for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes. I did not ask for an address. I had some public feedback that said, hey, when you ask for an address, sometimes it causes people to not want to come and speak. So I'm going to remove that from my request. Anybody wishing to make public comment can just state their name. Seeing no interest, I'd take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion from Aaron, a second by Adam to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. That meeting is adjourned. We will immediately move into our regular Board of Sanitary Commissioners meeting for the Muncie Sanitary District. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask if you'll rise and follow me once again in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Same thing on roll call, no excused absences, so we will proceed with the agenda as published. And again, we moved our public comment to the beginning of the meeting in case anybody wanted to comment on the agenda items. So anybody wishing to make public comment can approach the podium. Please state your name for the record and you'll have 3 minutes. Seeing no interest, we'll move right on with our agenda, which is the consideration of the September 18th board meeting minutes. These were published previously by Maggie. Nice job as always. Any comments or corrections from the board? If not, I would accept a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved. Second.
A motion from Adam, second by David. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Meeting minutes are approved and they will be posted following the meeting today. Next on the agenda is the consideration of the register of claims totaling $661,730.70. These were also sent out previously with some explanation, which I appreciate. Anybody wishing to clarify any of these claims for the benefit of the public? I'll just comment a couple quick things here on page 2. I pointed this out the last meeting, just reminding people. East Central Recycling, this is for all the disposal, household disposal, street department stuff, parks, $77,508.84. And then there was a claim on the 3rd page, which caught me off guard, for Farm and Fleet. In my world, the Farm and Fleet hadn't existed for a long time, but I understand that Greens Fork recently changed their name to Farm and Fleet about a month ago, so it is Greens Fork. Because a couple of the commissioners were asking about that. Anyone else wishing to clarify any of the claims? If not, we'll accept a motion to approve the claims as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Tim, second from Adam. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. The claims are approved and they will also be posted following the meeting today. Next up, we have an update from our district administrator, Rick Conrad.
Good morning, Rick Conrad, District Administrator. A couple of small traffic items. Currently at Kuntz Street near Burlington, the road is closed for some sewer work that certainly be done by the end of the week, if not sooner. And then also near Burlington and May, we've got some traffic control. The road is not closed, but we've got some traffic control there for drainage work. We are kind of in the middle of a temporary lull in construction, at least with our major projects, but we are soon to be entering a new phase of work. One of the items that will include is levee work near East Jackson Street, and we will also be ramping up in the next year projects aimed at separating our combined sewers. One of the simpler ones we may get done first here is the sealing of CSO 13. That one does not overflow, and so we're just going to fill that in per Army Corps requirements and get that eliminated from the list. We will then be down to a total of 9 CSOs. And since 2010, we have removed also 9, so we had 18. We're down to 9 now. We're also, I'm sure as everybody noticed, we're heading into fall, and the leaves are starting to fall off the trees. We're not doing leaf pickups just yet, but we imagine probably in the next 2 weeks we'll start that program. We will make sure we announce that on social media so that everybody knows. And then I also just want to remind everybody too, I think we've got another dry spell predicted currently, but do keep an eye on your storm drains in the fall, because it doesn't take much of a leaf pile on your storm drain to cause some major flooding issues at your house. So if you can, look out for your own storm drain or your neighbor's storm drain, and make sure you keep those clean. And that is it for me, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to field them.
Thank you, Rick. Aaron?
No questions, Rick. Thank you.
Tim?
No questions. Thank you, Rick.
Adam?
No questions.
David?
No questions. Thank you, Rick.
The recent rains, did we have any overflows as a result of the rains we had?
We did have overflows, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have two large combined sewer overflows in particular that usually overflow. With anything above 1/10 of an inch of rain is usually enough to get some discharge from those.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted people to understand how sensitive the system is. 1/10 of rain causes an overflow.
It can, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We don't have a department head update on the agenda today, so we'll skip to old business. We just closed the public hearing. This is something we talked about a couple weeks ago. Consideration of Resolution 2024-14, which is a sewage rate consideration. Back to Rick.
So we presented our proposed rate increase at the last board meeting on September 18th. We have had our public hearing, and we are ready to consider approval if the board chooses to do so.
Thank you, Rick. Aaron, comments or questions?
Yeah, I think on our part, due diligence has been done internally and externally. We've had a great cost of service study that's been done by Baker Tilly. Personally for me, on a comfort level and my experience in utilities, 4 years is a bit of a reach. I know it's what is probably standard with municipalities. I personally would prefer a 2-year and then a relook, only because of volatility with interest rates, a little bit of unknown funding that we may or may not have coming in the future, and then also finalizing what our true, CSO projects will be. So I definitely would support a 2-year rate increase, not the 4 years it is written, but obviously it's up to the entire board. So I appreciate the work that's been done so far. It's been a great experience, and obviously necessary that we do make some rate adjustments to continue to offer the services that we have to our public and our ratepayers.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Tim?
My only comments are going to be, last time we raised rates was in 2019, and a lot of inflation has happened since then, so we have that to make up. We also have the EPA mandating an unfunded mandate to do the sewer separation project. So the board really doesn't have a choice. This must be done. You just heard that 1/10 of an inch of rain
makes an overflow. And just to explain what that is, that means that sewage overflows into the river. So it's not as if this is not a real problem that needs to be addressed. The challenge is it's just a lot, millions and millions of dollars for a small community like Muncie. But we've done our very best to get the best rates possible, to do the best study possible, to complete this project by 2030, which is mandated by the EPA. They may give us a waiver to go longer than that, but we're not guaranteed such an extension. So, the board is doing its best to balance the concerns of the community along with the requirements of the EPA and just the daily operation fees that need to be increased because of inflation. So that's why I will support the proposal today.
Thank you, Tim. Adam?
Yeah, I mean, nobody particularly likes doing rate increases. They're just part of the business, sadly. Everybody's bills go up. That is the steady march of inflation time and basically sound economic theory, at least according to various proponents of such. We're trying to push it down as much as we could and spread it out to the maximum extent possible and still meet all of our basically federal, local, state requirements. Baker Tilly did a great job working with us, and Greeley and Hanson in kind of formulating a plan and schedule of values for that type of work. The other thing to kind of keep in mind is that, our previous rates were amongst the lowest in Indiana based on a 2022 survey of rates for the entire state. We'll now kind of move to the middle. We will not, be one of the highest, but we will be firmly in the middle. So we're not going to extremes out of necessity. We're kind of doing the best with the hand we're dealt, and we appreciate that nobody likes it, but we have to, keep the lights on, do what we're required to do by law, and maintain the same level of service for the community. So you hold your nose and you move on.
Thanks, Adam. David?
I think I just kind of echo what Adam just said, and also Tim. And I may add to that is that we've done everything I feel in-house that we could possibly do for cost savings. Same time, I believe we've also looked at state and federal grants, which is something we can continue to do. But at this point, in order to meet the EPA guideline of 2030, I just think what we're doing today is the right thing to do.
Thank you, David. So my comments kind of summarize what my fellow commissioners have said. Commissioner Clark made a comment about 2 year versus 4 years. So what's in front of us today is a proposal to adopt a 4-year rate schedule, knowing that we have long-term control plan funding requirements, and we have to put it out for bond to the public in addition to what Commissioner Overton said about the inflation and such. So this is a 4-year rate adoption. We would have to next go out and look for a bond anticipation note, and that would carry us through the first year, and then we would secure a bond to pay off the ban and then go forward and fund these projects. Another thing that I think is important to note that we did in this, when we were doing the cost of service study, it was noted and anticipated that the residents were funding an unfair amount. They were subsidizing some of the other classifications like commercial or institutional, government, and industrial. And we did away with our minimum fee and we put in a base rate. And that base rate basically covers our fixed costs. If a house goes unrented and they're not consuming water, we're not laying somebody off at the waste pollution control facility. So we still have fixed costs that we have to cover. And in order to do that in a fair manner, the way this base charge is going to be implemented across all of the classes, I believe is a more fair approach. And if this was only for inflation, I would agree to the 2 year, but since we know we have to secure a certain amount of funding to do what's left to do that's mandated by IDEM, that's unfunded mandate, we have to go out this 4 year. But I would encourage the board going forward to go to the 2 year looks. So that's pretty much it. I want to go around one more time. We haven't done this since 2019. None of us were here at that time. Commissioner Clark, any additional comments or questions?
No additional, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Commissioner Overton?
Just reemphasize what you said, is these bonds go out to market. Those who purchase the bonds are going to want to know that we are going to have the income to pay back the bonds plus interest, which does necessitate the 4-year schedule in my mind. I think adjustments could be made in 2 years, and if they need to be made, we can make them. But at the same time, for the security of selling the bonds, I think it's important to do the 4-year schedule. And I apologize. I got the crud, and my voice is waxing and waning on me. So.
Thanks for showing up today. Absolutely. Adam?
Yeah, just to reiterate, we can always, as a Board of Commissioners, come back and reexamine the rates on an annual basis, especially if there's been dramatic changes in, the bond market, for one. If we see a change in the interest rate from what we're anticipating downward, that would actually have a, net positive effect on our income, being able to change that. So we can always come back and revisit this as a board. However, really what we're doing is kind of setting our, some of us won't be here in the next 4 years. Not saying I hope anybody's not here in the next 4 years, but there's a chance that some of us won't be here in the next 4 years, because the term of commissioners, that is not a city, and the city engineer, is 3 years. With that said, there's always a little bit of turnover on the board. It's really setting up the future board to be in a position where they're not unfunded, having the State Board of Accounts in our business, having to do off time or off peak rate increases or anything. So I mean, it just it's kind of good business to secure everything up front, and then if there are some changes in the markets, or we see significant decreases in construction costs, or anything that goes in our favor, we can always re-examine that and come back and kind of trim ourselves back down. That's the right and duty of the board. We're not for profit. We try to keep the minimum amount of money on hand so that we can maintain good interest rates and get good bond rates and meet our state board of requirements and have cash on hand in case things go bad. But there's no vast stockpile of money that we're just holding for purpose. I mean, it's not the way we operate. We're a nonprofit. So
Right.
that's all I've got.
David, anything else?
I just agree with everyone that's just said there. Again, this is set up on a 4-year, and I think that's today we have to look at the 4-year. But I'm also open to maybe revisiting it next year or even 2 years from now.
Okay. Without any further comments, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve as presented.
Second.
A motion by Adam, second by David. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So 4 in favor, 1 opposed. The motion, or the resolution, is approved. Thanks, Rick. Next on the agenda, well, actually, any old business. Aaron, any additional old business you'd like to bring up?
Nothing additional, thank you.
Tim?
Not today.
Adam?
No.
David?
No, thank you.
None for me either. Under new business, we have 3 items today. The first one is a release of retainage to Bowen Engineering. Rick?
Good morning. After substantial completion of a number of stormwater projects, including those in Indian Village, the Northview Storm Sewer Project, and Lewick Avenue, we are ready to release retainage in the amount of $402,902.05. This money has been held in escrow, and after review from the board and myself, seems appropriate that we are ready to release this now.
Thank you, Rick. Aaron, comments or questions?
No comments.
Tim?
No comments.
Adam?
Just basically punch list have been completed on all the projects that we're releasing retainage for. We were required to retain at least depending on which state law you look at, between 6 and 3% of any particular project as retainage, 5% being the standard. This is that 5% retainage that we will be basically releasing back to the contractor as a guarantee of work performed. Since we have completed the punch list and accepted the projects, this is the next step to give them the money they earned. That's all I have.
David?
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Rick, can you clarify the projects that we're releasing the retainage for?
Yeah, so we've had a number of stormwater projects, but the three in particular are for Indian Village, North View, and Lewick. And those we've been working on those at least all this year and some a bit longer.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, I accept a motion to approve the release of the retainage as presented.
So moved.
Motion by David,
Second motion.
second by Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Release of the retainage is approved. Number 2 is a consideration of Resolution 2024-15, establishing procedures and penalties for ordinance violations. Rick?
Resolution 2024-15 has really been set up to kind of help our sanitation and recycling department maintain clean streets, especially on trash days, where some days we have some difficulty making sure that those areas where toters are set out are kept clean, not only during trash pickup, but sometimes afterwards. There aren't many instances of this, but sometimes the issues are fairly large and it's very difficult, given our current resolutions, to enforce anything in a timely manner. So this resolution will help us address those issues a bit more quickly. So for example, what this will do is it's basically going to allow us to enforce existing items in Ordinance Chapter 52, which relate to litter and waste. This resolution will give us the ability to use our code enforcement to require cleanups within 10 days or to administer a $75 fine. After 15 days, if it's still not cleaned up, we could administer a $150 fine. And then if after a month it's still not cleaned, we could administer a $300 fine, as well as assess any costs that we would incur to clean up the site ourselves.
Thank you, Rick. Aaron, comments or questions?
No comments.
Tim?
We are obviously adding some teeth to some of our regulations because we do have some chronic problems. I just want to say to Jason and the other, with great discretion comes great responsibility. We don't want grandma getting fined. We do want chronic violators taken care of. So, I don't really know a way to do this without giving you great discretion. My advice is use your discretion in such a way where we don't get contacted as a board as best to your ability. We will back you when there's a chronic problem, but we would like this to be worked out without having to issue fines as much as possible. So, and I thank you for the good work that you do, and I know you will handle this discretion well.
Adam?
Just for, and I generally know the answer to some of the questions I ask before I ask them, but this was prepared by legal counsel, correct?
Yes.
And we do have is there a measure to appeal any of these fines, which is typically part of that?
It can be appealed through the superintendent of sanitation and recycling first, and then they can come to the board.
Okay. And then any fines that are assessed, they will be returned to the sanitation department, I assume?
That is our plan, is to have that money returned to sanitation and recycling department, yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
David?
I have nothing to add to it, thank you.
Just clarifying for the public, in Section 4 here, the person believed to be in violation of any provision set forth in Chapter 52 of the Muncie City, Indiana Code of Ordinances would be charged with these amounts. So this is as it relates to Chapter 52 of the Muncie City Code. Well, any further discussion? If not, accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion from Tim,
Second motion.
a second from Aaron. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Consider resolutions approved. Third is the approval of the sale, 701 East 23rd Street property. Rick?
The property at 701 East 23rd Street was purchased by the Sanitary District almost 10 years ago with the expectation that it would be useful as part of our long-term control plan. It was purchased for $1. Since then, our plans have changed substantially, and the district has decided they would no longer need that property. So we have, in July, we posted this to the public for bids. We received one bid in the amount of $500 from Randy Justice, who is a property owner adjacent to this property. And so this item is to approve the sale of the property at 701 East 23rd Street to Randy Justice for the amount of $500.
Thank you, Rick. Aaron, comments or questions?
This property does come with some environmental issues, is that correct? So it's,
And then that's the primary reason why it's so cheap, yes, because it does have a history of some environmental issues on it, yes.
I think that's all I have.
Tim?
No comment.
Adam?
Just to kind of touch our normal basis, the bidder was informed as to the general environmental constraints of the property in the notice. This was published as a legal notice to accept the bids. Bids were generally open price consideration. Anybody could come see the bids while they were open. This is the sole bidder. They are an adjacent property. We, due to environmental constraints, the district has basically no use of the property. And as a district property, it is also off the tax roll, so the city gets no tax income from this. So just kind of some of the basic facts. I probably glossed over a few things there, but Joe nodded at me, so I feel pretty good about it. Just, general information. That's all I have.
David?
And just again, this puts the, that property back on the tax roll, so that's all I have.
So to restate, we paid $1 10 years ago.
Correct.
$500 is the offer. When we put it out for bid, we had it appraised first, and the appraisal was 36.
It was around $39,000 for the property, yes. Mhm.
Any further discussion? If not, accept a motion to approve the sale of 701 East 23rd Street property to Randy Justice for the sum of $500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Adam, second by David. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose the same. Item 3 is approved.
Thank you.
Any other new business, Aaron?
No new business?
Tim?
Not today.
Adam?
Nope.
David?
No.
None for me either. Any additional board topics, Aaron?
I do not have any, thank you.
Yep. Tim?
No.
Adam?
Just that we're going into leaf season. As you're gathering up your leaves, one, please don't fill the drain with your leaves. Two, we're looking at some different programs that'll be coming from our sanitation department on kind of how to handle that better in the future, hopefully, and just be cognizant of not raking all your leaves to the curb line because it fills up our sweepers. Then our sweepers make more trips. That's not really what they were designed for. So we appreciate the people that do actually bag them for pickup. That's all I have.
David?
Nothing to add, thank you.
So for me, I've had some questions about the Highway 32 project that's going through the city of Muncie. There's a paving project, and then there are some proposed roundabouts. Originally, there was a roundabout proposed, I believe, at Ohio, Hackley, and Madison, but I was on a call, I believe it was yesterday, was it? That call yesterday, Adam? And the Ohio roundabout's not going to happen, so there'll be one at Hackley and one at Madison. And the questions that I've been asked is, how's this going to affect the sanitary district? And I believe as it stands right now, there should be no additional work required by the sanitary district. So this is an NDOT project. It's not a City of Muncie project. It's not a sanitary district project. And the current timing, I believe, it wouldn't start until school's out in 2027 is kind of what I heard yesterday.
It's sufficiently far out, I would not hazard a guess on
Yeah.
exact timing.
At least 2 years from now. So not going to happen anytime soon. I do believe that they stated on the call yesterday that they would hold some public informational meetings. So those that are asking questions will have an opportunity to do so directly with the state and the project managers. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I would accept a motion, or our next regular scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, 2 weeks from now, October 16th, same time, same place, right here in City Hall Auditorium. I would accept a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Adam, second by David. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Everybody be safe.